Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Solo Marketer Survival Kit, the must-have tools and shortcuts that save time. My name is Natalie Slyman. I'm the Content Marketing Manager at Benchmark Email. Before I dive in, I just want to remind everyone that we will be sending an email follow-up after this webinar, and it will include the audio, the recording, as well as the slides. And I will be sharing some links to resources in this deck, and I will be mentioning them and walking you through them a little bit. So the email will also include those resources as well. So for any reason you might have to log off a bit early, or you just want these resources for later so that you can kind of, hit the ground running a little bit, don't worry, you will be sent everything you need. So I just wanted to say thank you again for joining me today. So if you're here, which I'm going to say this is a very popular webinar topic. From what I see, we've had so many registrants, so I can tell that a lot of you on this webinar are most likely solo marketers or on very small teams. So you probably know what it feels like to wear all the marketing hats. There's writer, designer, strategist, analyst, sometimes even customer support. So our session today is going to be all about giving you those practical tools and shortcuts to kind of help lighten that load. Because the idea is, we've got to do more, but hopefully with less and without sacrificing, quality. So let's dive in. Okay. So this is sort of our little agenda. We're going to chat about the common pain points of solo marketers. You're probably thinking, I already know what those are. But in order to really figure out the way to solve those pain points, we want to kind of get into what exactly those pain points are, because there's a lot of them. And then we're going to discuss some AI tools that do the heavy lifting so that you can kind of set it and forget it, and as well as some time savers and pro tips. So yeah, and then by the end, the hope is that you'll walk away with a toolkit you can actually put into practice right away. Okay, so the big one: common pain points of solo marketers. Okay, so being a one-person marketing team is no joke. I've been there. I know you all have probably been there. So you probably find yourself often juggling way too many responsibilities with limited time and resources. Maybe you don't have a designer on call or IT support when tools get tricky. And yet you are still expected to produce polished, high quality campaigns across multiple channels consistently. So, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you here, but add in endless tools, data, and strategies to choose from. And it's no wonder solo marketers often feel stretched very thin. If any of these challenges sound familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. That's exactly what this webinar is, here to help you solve. So enter the toolkit. This is where the fun begins. So I want to start with AI powered writing and content tools. These tools can take the heavy lifting off your shoulders when it comes to drafting copy, brainstorming headlines, or even repurposing a single piece of content into multiple formats. The goal with these tools, which I know there's a lot of conversation around AI and there's a lot of backlash with it as well as appreciation. But this has helped me sort of fully understand its benefits. It's by looking at it as the goal isn't to replace your creativity, but instead it's to give you a strong starting point so you spend less time staring at a blank page. Because a lot of times, at least for me, being a content creator, the hardest part can be taking that first step. And, when you don't feel inspired or you aren't sure where to begin or you're not sure what to write about, that can be a big time waste. So by leveraging AI in that regard and kind of helping you get the ball rolling, it's a great way to utilize a tool without replacing your expertise completely. So I'm going to name a few of these tools. Some copywriting tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, or even our own Benchmark Emails Smart Content can generate first drafts, polish your tone, or even rewrite content for different audiences. So I like to think of them as like on-demand writing partners who never complain about deadlines. I used to work at an advertising agency, and I used to work with a lot of creative designers and copywriters, and their biggest gripe would be turnaround time. And I rightfully so. Sometimes we would just have insane deadlines. But you don't have to sort of talk AI into working with you in a time crunch. It's very fast, it's very efficient. You still bring the strategy and the personality, but these tools kind of help you move faster while keeping the content sharp. I personally love ChatGPT for copywriting. We also use AirOps to help us generate content ideas based on search terms, as well as to refresh existing content, which is very important. You don't want to just only create new content. Obviously, that is important. But as time goes by, the content you create can get a little stale, and people are still going to it. They're still being directed to it. So you don't want to direct people to stale content. So it's important to look at what content of yours is still getting traffic, and then make sure you evaluate that content to ensure it's current. And that's what I love about AirOps. We can kind of pick which content we think we want to refresh. I can input it into the system, and then it will, offer suggestions on how to improve it for search engines, and it will offer those suggestions to me. So obviously I can review those and update the existing content and republish it, which is also really good. With ChatGPT, your content output is only going to be as good as your prompt. So you really do want to make sure you're specific with your prompt, and you're as diligent about reading what it outputs, because it can be factually inaccurate. It can kind of take some liberties. So you are still very much needed in this process. It is still very important that, when you're using ChatGPT, I like to use it to help me brainstorm topic ideas. And sometimes it's good for, outlines and, even putting together decks and things like that. But when it helps write blog content, it's important to review that content, especially if you're using it to create any sort of bottom funnel content, which is, when you are mentioning specific brands and comparing yourself against those brands, or, showcasing certain product features or service offerings you really have to review that stuff to make sure it's accurate. Because while it pulls stuff from the web, it doesn't necessarily pull what's current, or, like I said, it can take some liberties. So you are still very much a part of this process. This is just a tool to kind of help you get that process jump started. Okay. And now I also want to talk about subject lines and templates. So one of the simplest, fastest ways AI can save you time is with subject lines and email templates. So subject line generators give you a bank of options to test. We always encourage you test subject lines of your emails to see which works. So that just sort of involves taking a list, breaking it up into 2 lists, sending the same email, but one email has one subject line while the other email has a different subject line, and then send those at the same day and time. And then you can look at the open rate, click-through rate, all of that good stuff to see which subject line performed better. So, but these subject line generators kind of give you a bank of options, so you're not like agonizing over those 8 little words, because for some reason subject lines are, because they're so limited, they can be the hardest things to write. So that's where a lot of, these generators are great. They can really take that headache away. And then, of course, there's email templates, especially when paired with our drag and drop builder. We have Benchmark Email has a drag and drop email builder that is super easy to use. But when you pair those 2 tools, you're able to design professional looking campaigns in just minutes, not hours. And you don't need any sort of coding or design degree. So we do actually have a free subject line generator, and we have email templates within our tool that our users have at their disposal. So I'll make sure and provide a link to our subject line generator and to some free templates on our site later in this presentation so that you guys can use them. But sorry, coffee, it's a must right now. But these are two very important tools when it comes to putting together your emails. Not everybody would consider themselves an email marketer, but it is the job of a marketing professional to put these together and to send them out. So if you don't know even where to start, templates, again, our drag and drop builder, which is also extremely easy to use, paired with any sort of subject line generator, can really get the ball moving for you. Okay. So another huge time saver is repurposing content. And we actually just did a webinar on this. Repurposing content is one of my favorite things to do because you're not starting from scratch. So let's say you write one blog post. With AI tools, you can turn that blog post into an email newsletter, into social media captions, or even a short video script. This way, you can obtain multiple assets from a single piece of work. And what's really great is it helps you maintain consistent messaging while saving a ton of time. So I will share a link to that webinar recording that we did on repurposing content, but something just to kind of walk you through the process. What you can do is, say you're using ChatGPT, you can share with ChatGPT the published blog post. You can share the link and say, hey, this blog post of ours is doing really well, or this talks about something we know our audience is very interested in. Can you take this blog post and put together 3 social media captions, as well as the outline for an email newsletter centered on this idea? And then ChatGPT will just crank that out for you. Again, you need to review and make sure it looks good. And, it is up to you to take what it gives you and put it to use. But that is a great way to take something that exists and turn it into a different format, because we all know that while people may enjoy, content, they don't all enjoy the same type of content. Some people prefer going to social media to engage. Some people prefer getting an email. And other people block out some times in their day, maybe some time blocks in their day to review blog content. So if you're able to create similar content on various different platforms, you're only increasing the likelihood of different types of people seeing it and engaging with it, which is super important for exposure. Okay, so I kind of mentioned this earlier, but not every solo marketer has access to a designer, and that's absolutely okay. Tools like Canva or Benchmark Email's drag and drop editor, which I've already mentioned, make it really easy to create beautiful branded content without having to start from scratch. So smart templates provide a polished look instantly, and brand kits ensure your colors, fonts, and logos remain consistent across all campaigns. So Canva has like a brand kit, and they have templates as well. But I think people often think that design, if it's going to look good, it's going to have to be complicated, and that's not true. You can seamlessly add your Canva email designs to your Benchmark email image gallery and use them straight from the platform. I actually we have a blog post on how to do that, and I'll share that as well. But I'm currently using Canva right now to help design my son's first birthday invite. And I truly did not know what I was doing. I just got on Canva and messed around, and next thing I know, I have this really cool it's going to be a paper invite. But I'm just saying, Canva is so easy to use. It's so easy to use, and you have access to all these different things, and it's actually really fun to play around with. And you might actually discover that you have a little bit of a design streak in you. But when you merge that tool with an email marketing platform like Benchmark Email, the possibilities are kind of endless with how you're able to, speak to your audience, and you're able to put good design to use. Okay. The part of the conversation that I feel like I say in every single webinar. Okay, let's shift to how AI can help you connect with your audience more effectively, which is through smart segmentation. That's really hard to say. Smart segmentation utilizes AI-driven insights to categorize your contacts based on their behavior or preferences. So this is like, instead of sending a one-size-fits-all campaign, you can target different segments with content that feels personal and relevant to them, which almost always leads to better results. So the upside, though, is that segmentation doesn't have to be complicated. Like design, it doesn't have to be complicated, especially with the right tool. So what I recommend is, starting with simple groups, such as people are frequent buyers versus one-time buyers, or active customers versus maybe dormant ones, people you haven't heard from in a while. Because even small steps in segmentation can make a significant step in engagement. So AI tools like CRMs, customer relationship software, and can automatically surface these insights, saving you from sifting through spreadsheets. So if you have a CRM, that's wonderful. I mean, you'll know that it basically lists all of your contacts, and it can show you interaction history and how they're engaging with your brand. And it kind of, I'm sure there's note sections and all of that, which tells you where you kind of like left off with them. And if you pair that with a tool like Benchmark Email, you're able to use those insights to talk to them in the way that they want to be talked to. And that's kind of gets me to personalization. So personalization is more than just putting someone's name in an email. It's about sending content that speaks to where they are in their journey. So like a well-timed product recommendation, or a reminder about an abandoned cart, can drive results with minimal effort on your part. The beauty, though, is that AI and smart tools, they handle the data, while you can just focus on the message. So basically, AI tools, they can help you understand which customers are doing what. So you can help you create a list based on customers that didn't click buy but put stuff in their cart. So then you can put together a cart abandonment email and send it to those customers, encouraging them to continue on their purchase. Or maybe somebody unsubscribed, you can send them an email, that an automatic email, that says something like, we're sad to see you go. Maybe, would you rather change your email cadence? Instead of us emailing you every day, maybe you only want to get an email from us once a week or once a month. So that's something that kind of can help you save that relationship. And you wouldn't have been able to do that without the power of AI and automation, which kind of gets me into this next area, automation. We love automation, and it's not just because we are an email automation platform, but it's because we've seen how it works, and we know how it works, and we've seen the benefits. So automation is really where you're able to free up some time. So automations like a welcome series or abandoned cart emails, like I previously said, or even birthday campaigns, you can run them in the background once you set them up. So instead of manually sending reminders or follow-ups, which would take, oh my God, I mean, that would be your entire job. Your system automates the process for you. So you can kind of think of it as your marketing on autopilot. So you can focus on strategy instead, and creativity instead of repetitive tasks. So you can set it up in a tool like Benchmark, where when someone signs up for your email, or maybe makes a first purchase, you can send them a welcome series. You can set the task up so that it happens while you're just doing something else. So you might not even be at your desk. Someone signs up for your emails, and then that welcome series goes out to them. That's the beauty of it. You are literally setting it up, and then it'll run while you are busy doing other things. Um, and another significant advantage for solo marketers is the ability to integrate with various tools. So integrations are huge. Connecting your CRM, your e-commerce platform, or lead capture forms to your email system means, you're not copying and pasting data between tools, which when you do that, you leave room for manual error and it could kind of mess things up. So, everything syncs automatically. So you're always working with up-to-date information and minimizing duplicate work. So this sort of means, say you're using a certain CRM, you would follow the steps to integrate it with your email marketing tool. That way, you have all of your data in like one hub, so you can see what your customers are doing, and then you can take that information and apply email marketing to it. Same with e-commerce platforms. You can integrate e-commerce platforms into your email marketing so you can sell through your email, which is a big driver of sales in this day and age, and it's important. So again, it's catering to your audience. It's catering to the various ways in which they want to buy from you. And then forms are big too, because forms, when you have those up on your website, that is how people are going to download things from you. That's how people are going to sign up for things from you. So when you're able to integrate your forms with your software, then you're going to be able to take those people, add their information to your CRM, and then use that information in your email marketing. Okay, so we're going to talk about some bonus time savers and pro tips. It's not really too insane, but some bonus strategies that I recommend. These are some of them that can make like a big difference. Batch scheduling content and campaigns allow you to plan so you're not constantly scrambling. Reusable content blocks, those are like within your email, or even on your website. They're a lifesaver. So you design once and use it many times. And having easy access to your email performance reports means you can spend less time chasing data and more time acting on it. So creating reusable content blocks. I do so much duplicating, even when I'm in WordPress and I'm creating certain resource pages. I can do, it's really just about using what you already have and then adjusting it. So kind of cutting it, people can see it as cutting corners, but it's really not. It's just being smarter. So make sure you look into those sort of ways that you can reuse what you already have. And then email reporting is so big. We actually just released a resource that you can type in your email metrics that you're seeing, and ChatGPT can kind of analyze those for you. So I can share that as well. But at Benchmark Email with our tool, we want to make it easy for you to access those email reports, because half the battle is sending the email. Half the battle is knowing when and how and where to send the email. The other half of the battle is knowing what those emails are actually doing. So when you're looking at those email reports, you are figuring out how they're resonating with your audience. And that is so important for your future campaigns, because if you are sending emails that aren't resonating, if you're sending emails that people don't engage with, then you want to stop doing that. You want to change some things up. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is to look at your email reports and see what is doing well and what isn't. Okay. So let's just kind of do like a quick recap. So we went over your must-haves for your survival kit, which includes AI tools for writing and design, smart segmentation and personalization, time-saving automations, integrations, and some bonus hacks, which we just chatted about. I think it's really important, though, to remember that the goal is to work smarter, not harder. Like, it's not about the grind anymore. I think a lot of us sort of felt like if we're not working hard and sort of, killing ourselves over certain tasks, then we're not doing enough. We don't live in that kind of world anymore. We live in a world where there are so many tools out there for us to make our lives easier, because the output and the demand is not, it's much more than what it used to be. So if we're going to perform and where we need to utilize these tools that make our lives easier. And doing so is only going to allow us to, like I said, scale our impact, even as a team of one. So if you feel like, once you take these tips and put them to use, if you feel like your life is getting a little easier and you want to feel bad about that, do not feel bad about it. Okay, so I mentioned a ton of resources. I mentioned our email subject line generator, our free email templates, our content repurposing webinar, and how to create an email using Canva. I will also send you our ChatGPT, email metrics analyzer link, as well as our, oh yeah, I already have it here, benchmark email subject line generator. But like I said, I'm going to be sending an email with the slides, this recording, all of these links, and it's going to come from me. So if you have any specific questions, anything, I'm not seeing any questions. I hope that means I just answered everything you all wanted me to. But if something pops up later on and you're like, oh, I forgot about this, or I don't know what this is, or what do I do about this? Where should I, whatever. So respond to that email I send you. I am happy to connect. Other than that, make sure you check out our blog, because I'm consistently posting content there that is, I think, very helpful for those of you that are on this webinar specifically, which I am assuming are very small marketing teams or teams of one. So we want to make your life easier. I'm so grateful that you joined me today. I know it was kind of quick. So, please don't be a stranger. And please be on the lookout for our next webinar. We try to host one a month. Oh, I do see a question. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Janae, I want to be able to automate my subscribers that sign up. Right now, I am manually entering email addresses in. Yeah, that does sound painful. So I'm assuming this means that you are seeing people sign up and then you're adding them to some sort of spreadsheet. So yeah, that is not something that we would recommend. I would recommend using a CRM or using Benchmark Email, because we do currently have forms. And so when you link a form to your website, that will automatically add that person into your database in Benchmark Email. So when they sign up you can add forms to your website, and when they sign up, they will be added to your contact list in Benchmark Email. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I definitely think where you're just sort of missing out on something is through tools. So I recommend looking into Benchmark Email, and I will be sending out a link to sign up free in our email follow-up if you'd like to do that, or some form builders that that you can sync in through something like Benchmark Email. So and then let's see, I have another question. Can I send emails to multiple different customer types from more than one email address? Yes. In Benchmark Email, you can do that. I always recommend sending an email from someone with a name. So like my email, natalie.slyman@benchmarkemail.com. But a lot of websites will have like info at, and then their domain, or, sales at, or customer service at. And so that's, yes. However, I wouldn't send the same email from different people to the same people. I think it's important that if you are going to, try and send a promo to someone, it comes from someone on your sales team, or it comes from you, if you've had a relationship with that person. If it's like an email campaign and it's just to nurture and provide, so an email campaign is when you send numerous emails in a series. That also can come from like a sales rep, or it can come from, info at your company. But when you're sending emails to multiple different types of customers. All I would do here is make sure you're not sending the same email from different email addresses to the same person, because that is going to overwhelm them. That's going to inundate them. That's going to really frustrate them. They're going to say, I keep getting the same email, but it's from different people at the same company. And they'll either unsubscribe or block you. And that can hurt your sender score and hurt your brand reputation and all of those things. So hopefully I answered that for you guys. Okay. Oops. Well, those were some questions. Thank you for getting those in. And like I said, if you have any more questions, please just follow up to the email that I send. Look out for that email either tomorrow or the next day, but you should get it this week sometime. And again, thank you all so, so much. I really appreciate you joining me today. And hopefully I will see you on our next webinar. Have a great day.